Oh, bully. Why did I promise my son I could build a darts cabinet with no material in one day? We play a bit of darts in the house. We've got people coming over on Friday. Today's Wednesday. I've promised that the current setup on screen will be eradicated and we'll have a nice little cabinet to put in. We are decorating soon, so the holes in the wall don't matter for now. I haven't been able to go out and get any wood for it. I've got to scrabble around here and see if I've even got enough. I've promised my son I've got one day to do it in because today's the only day I've got in the workshop. And it's just gone 10 o'clock. I've probably got till about 5, so that's 7 hours. Wish me luck. Okay, this was no joke. I was concerned about this one. I knew I had this old piece of melamine that I could make as a backing board, and that was a start. I used the old darts board that we had along the way for sizing and was relieved that this piece of melamine would suffice. I put the dart board to one side and searched for some suitable wood. I initially contemplated using these strips which were left over from when I updated the workshop door, but there just weren't enough width when put together. I then contemplated removing this ply back from the cabinet, but wisely I said no, this has got screw holes in and I quite like how it looks. Now, I did have these old IKEA shelves that were from my mother-in-law's bookcase, and I was given them a while back, so I measure these in hope. And after some careful rejiggling, I decide that these will be about my best bet for the door. Not ideal, but best bet with what I had. I was worried about gluing these up though. I thought there'd be some misalignment, so I used these two supports that would act as culls whilst I clamped, although later they do get removed. But yeah, definitely while I'm gluing up they do serve a purpose. So I'll make sure it's fairly tight and then I can add the supports. The only problem is these screws all had to be hand screwed in, which is never fun. I also apply a cull here because these supports were a bit thin themselves. While the glue was curing, I start to trim off some of this treated timber. It wasn't ideal, but I think it was the only option I had for the sides of the cabinet. The aim here was to knock off the rounded edges and then resaw down the middle to give me 4 planks in total. 4 planks for 4 sides. This was the plan, but much like my saw blade, it went awry. As I set the blade in the middle here, I'm blissfully unaware about what is to come, but you'll see shortly. Yeah, this is it. The blade isn't parallel to the fence, so the circled area highlights how the two cuts are not meeting up. You can even see a gap between the wood and the fence. I do rectify this later and I've got no idea how it came out of square, but it did. Anyway, back to the cutting. Now, owing to the fence being out, I need to run all the planks through the thicknesser to remove the inconsistencies, which it does, but I shouldn't have to rely on the thicknesser to get me out of this poor machine alignment. I feel I've let myself down, and also the entire game of darts. I'll never be allowed in the alley pally again. I've never actually been. I do check the door size against the board here, and I realise it's going to be too tight, so I need to make the door bigger. And there's only one way that I can think of doing this, and that is with another piece of this treated timber. So I set to work, repeating the previous process of removing the rounded edges, resawing inaccurately, before being saved again by the thicknesser. Now I'll rip these into 1/3 and 2/3, which I can then attach together to make this profile like that, which I glue and screw together. And I wipe away any of the glue squeeze out with a damp cloth here before flushing up with a quick sanding. Mark here to the same width of the door and cut it to size. I can then glue and screw these pieces to the door. Now, not only do they extend the surface area, they also add a bit of detail to the door frontage. Also, this is the bit where I remove those original supports. I then round the edges of these new supports, and I plane the back of the door with my electric plane flush with the new supports. I do ensure that all my screws are very well countersunk because I don't want them clattering into my planer blade. And then I'll give it a sanding. Then I trim the back panel to the correct size, and this is where I finally decide to set the fence square. It's a real simple job as well, so I don't know why it was out of square, but on we go. I cut the size of the cabinets to the correct size, and then I can put them up against the back panel, put the dartboard in and see how it looks. Oops, clumsy. And when I'm certain it all fits, I can attach the first side of the cabinet to the backboard with glue and screws yet again. And with the first two sides attached, I can then attach the other two sides. Here, the clamp is helping me seat the sides square. I get the square on it, adjust the clamps, and everything's nice and as it should be. I sand up to 150. And then I use this little guide here to consistently place the countersunk screw holes that will eventually attach this to the wall. knowing that later the cork matting that I've ordered will cover this. And there it is in place whilst I am just putting on a coat of finish as well. And there it is with the cork matting. Self-adhesive, nothing exciting. Okay, fast forward to Friday. I've got about an hour till the guests arrive and I need to get this door on. So using darts as an awl, I position this clasp. My thinking is if I get the clasp in place first, it will be a bit of an extra helping hand whilst I'm trying to fit the hinges. And it sort of does. Still tricky on your own though. So here I'm gripping the door for dear life whilst I mark out the hinges before pre-drilling, and the screws that come with these hinges, I haven't got a bit for them, so it's more excessive hand screwing. Using a dart as an awl again. Making sure the hinge is square so that the door will swing back and forth as it should, and I hold it into place again while I mark out the door, holding onto the door for dear life. White knuckle stuff right here on Wooden Wolf. Okay, more hand screwing as I attach the door to the hinge, and I can then attach all the subsequent hinges. And at this point, all that is left to do is to put the old Wooden Wolf logo on the inside of the door, like so. So it's done. It's Friday, they're coming round later and it's finished. Don't judge me, I don't think Luke Littler's going to be turning up to have a go. But, look, it opens. It's got a dartboard. We'll probably put some fabric on that, but that's probably not going to be my job. But with an old bit of wood that I had knocking around, I think it is sufficient for now. This room is having a total redecoration soon. Don't know why I'm out of breath, I haven't gone anywhere. It's all that hand screwing. But yeah, so everything's, this may or may not star, may do a nicer version, we'll see how it goes. Now, you'll want to see me throw a 180, wouldn't you? Come on then, let's have a look. This will be a genuine, no edited throw, no camera trickery. This is just how good I am.
190!
Thanks for watching.